Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. Big smile on my face today. It is a new lens day, a lens that I kind of pretty much always wanted. So stay tuned and I'll tell you why I bought it. So guys, this is it. This is the lens that I've purchased. And there it is. This is the Canon EF 800mm f5.6 LIS. It's an absolutely beautiful lens in mint condition. And I saw it for sale locally here to me in Canada for a very, very good price and decided to bite the bullet and buy it. Now, I want to go through the reasons why I purchased this lens. Few whys and wherefores, a little bit about its specs, but I'm not going to go into it in depth really, to be honest. There's lots of things online that you can look at, but to be honest, when I say lots of things online, you put this lens into YouTube to see if there's any reviews on it, and there's so little on there. Even in the way of blogs, there's not really a great deal about this lens. It's kind of a niche lens, I guess. It's a birder's dream. A really, really good lens for that sort of additional reach, but we'll go into that a bit later on. But it came here in its hard case as well. So there's its hard case, its 800 case. It came with all the bits and bobs. So guys, I expect you've noticed that the lens foot at the bottom is slightly different. It comes with a white lens foot. This one here is a Wimberley lens foot. And that's the Arca Swiss type that locks straight on to one of my tripod heads, whether that be a gimbal or whether that be just a standard video head or ball head, so it locks straight on. The lens foot it comes with is a solid plate with two screws at the bottom. You have to then screw an additional plate in then to mount it. That adds extra weight, which you don't need, and actually this is quite a bit lighter than the foot that comes with it. So this is a little bit of a weight saver there as well. But it is absolutely lovely. It's in great condition. As I said, there's not really a mark on it. Absolutely fantastic. And I've not really had a chance to test it in the field yet. I took it out and took pictures of my dog and my son doing some movement from side to side, the dog fetching a stick coming towards me just to test it out to make sure the lens worked. Came with a warranty and everything else with it. So we're gonna have a little look. I'll mount the lens onto a tripod next to me and just talk through the lens a little bit and why I bought it. So guys, this is a bit of a dream purchase for me. In my time of having Canon gear going back when I was the age of like 9 or 10, prime lenses have always been a massive draw, and it took me a long, long time to purchase my first ever prime lens, and that prime lens was the EF 600 Mark I. This lens is actually quite a bit lighter than that lens, but that was my first ever prime purchase, and it really did. I'd say elevate my photography. It really gave me that edge when it came to like low light photography, getting that additional reach when my fieldcraft skills weren't up to speed, getting close to animals and birds, etc. But this is kind of, I think this is my fourth ever prime purchase. And a reason why I bought it as well is I'm not going to be in a position to ever be able to afford an RF 400, 600, 800. They're far too expensive and well out of my price range. In the future, when prices drop, maybe I'll be lucky to get one. But for me, having the EF glass onto my R bodies is absolutely fine. I see very little drop off. Yes, there's weight saving and all that. We'll go into that a bit later. But for me, the glass is still superb, absolutely superb. It's mounted here on the 1DX Mark III, just for illustration purposes. And with the EF to RF converter, I can pop that onto my R3 and R7, giving me considerable reach on the R7. First off, why did I purchase it? Because primarily for me in Canada at the moment, there are subjects that are very, very sensitive to disturbance. So we're talking things like moose, bear, wolves, loads of other mustelid species and bird species. Now this lens will allow me then to get myself in a position where I can photograph birds and mammals that are sensitive at distance without changing their behavior. For me, with a shorter focal length, yes, 500, you can have teleconverts and stuff on there, but we all know that as much as the 500 I've got Mark II is great with a 1.4 tele, it does introduce a tiny bit of softness. Regardless of how good they are, you will bring that element of softness in and that slight degradation in the image quality, the AF performance, etc. So having a straight camera to lens without that extender, teleconverter there, does make a great deal of difference to the images. So for me, to have this lens at distance in cover to witness and watch wildlife behave naturally without disturbance. We all know that if the wildlife sees you, they're going to change their behavior slightly. They're not going to be as natural. With this lens, it'll allow me to get myself in a position where I can do that at a safe distance. And when I talk about safety, there is a rule in Canada with a lot of the species here, wolf, bears, etc., that you need to keep that separation to the subject. Not only are you doing it for the subject's welfare, you're doing it because to limit that threat there, that danger area that you're going to put yourself into if you're trying to photograph wildlife that could potentially cause you harm. We're not saying they are. Wolf and bear, they're not going to come and get you as soon as they see you, but you want to let them behave naturally, not to disturb them and to give them that separation. With this lens, will put me in a position where I can actually do that safely at distance. You don't stalk bears, you don't stalk wolves, you watch them naturally at distance, giving yourself plenty of space. With the 500 I've got, as I said, with the 1.4 tele, it will push me to 700 on a full frame, and I can put the 2 times on and get me 1000. But then I'm introducing that 500 f4 then becomes 5.6, and then I go to f8, etc. if I put a 2 times on. And the performance is lacking, and you're using that prime as well in low light situations, and you're adding teleconverters on, which is losing stops of light. So it's valuable. Yes, this lens is f5.6. That's wide open, down to f32. So, for me, this will give me that opportunity then to see that wildlife in its environment and hopefully capture them acting naturally without disturbance. Not only that, it's a bit of a birder's dream lens, really, bird photographer's lens. You can get in there nice and close on birds at distance, especially small birds. You can hand hold this lens. It isn't too bad, but we'll go into the specs with that in a moment. And another reason really is because I saw it for the price it was, and it was a steal and a half. I wasn't really looking for it. It popped up. I thought, oh, that looks nice. I spoke to the local store, who are amazing, by the way. Big shout out to Henry's camera store here in Ottawa. A guy there called Ryan, absolutely fantastic. Sorted me out. Got this lens sent to me from another store, other side of Canada, straight to me. Comes with a warranty, etc. Yeah, overall came with all the bits as well. Came with the lens hood, which is really, really good. This is a newer lens hood, so the 400 to 800. So I actually looked and spoke to Canon as part of the Canon professional service and asked them when this lens was manufactured and made. This lens did come out in 2008, late 2008, but this lens was actually manufactured in May 2020. So the lens is only 5 years old. So it's not been sat on the shelf, it's not been sat in a cupboard since 2008, 2009, it's had all that life. So it's a very, very new lens. The weather seal's intact, the body's in great condition, there's no fading, there's no nothing, the rubber grips, there's no scratches, there's no marks. It's absolutely pristine. So we're just going to quickly now run into the specs of a lens, just basic specs. So guys, going into the basic specs then, so this lens, as I said before, was manufactured in 2008. So it's been out there a long, long time. There was never an EF 800 Mark II, it was just this one. There was one before that, which was an FD, I think, at 800, which was a lot bigger and a lot heavier. So it is one of the largest EF lenses they do. They did a 1200, which is no longer in operation and no longer sold, no longer serviced. This lens is still current here in Canada. I contacted Canon and asked them, and it will at least be being serviced and it's being sold here in Canada. I think it's about $19,000 to buy here. So it's still being sold here, which means it's still be serviced by Canon for many, many years to come. So that's one of the big things for me. Whether or not it's still current in the UK, I'm not sure, but I'm sure Canon UK still service it. Okay, so as I said, 2008, but this one was made and manufactured in May 2020. So guys, the weight is just under 4.5 kilograms, which is 9.9 pounds. So it's not light by any means. I can handhold this even with the DX body, but not for prolonged periods. Okay, my 600 Mark 1, which is an older lens than this, was 11.8 pounds, which is 5.4 kilograms. So actually, this one being 4.4 is quite a lot lighter, so a kilogram lighter, so 2.2 pounds lighter, which for me is kind of significant, really. It also, as I said before, the max aperture is wide open, is f5.6 down to f32 as well. There's a bit of a downside to it, really, is minimum focus distance is 6 meters. So that distance to subject is quite vast. You can limit that if you want by putting a 25mm extension tube on Mark II, which will then drop that down to about 5 meters. So a little bit better, but I probably won't be bothered to put one on, to be fair, because this lens can be used for subjects at distance anyway. It's got a focus limiter there, 6 meters to infinity, 6 meters to 20 meters, and 20 meters to infinity. So you can select that if you want, if you're distance at subject and you want a faster AF, etc. You can do that. The IS mode on it, now that's interesting. It's got the 2 modes on the side, so the selector, same as my 600 Mark 1. But the 600 Mark 1 had 2 modes of IS, and this has got 4 stops of image stabilization. So a significant upgrade on the 600 Mark 1 and less noisy. It certainly isn't noisy. You can hear a tiny bit of whirring in there, but to be honest, it's a lot quieter than my 300 f2.8 prime and my 600 Mark 1, which I had. So that was another reason there with that 4 stops of image stabilization, especially when hand holding. It's also got tripod sensitivity settings on it. So when you mount it to a tripod, it automatically sensing that it's on a tripod. So it has got that tripod sensing mode with it as well, which is kind of really, really good. So it's sharp corner to corner at f5.6, but it's very sharp at f8. Bearing that in mind in low light, you're shooting up a bit more there, f8, but it is still pretty sharp at f5.6. There's a little bit of vignetting at f5.6, but not too bad. So there is going to be a trade-off. Being an 800mm prime lens, you're going to have a little bit of that, but it's significantly better than the 600. Now the 600 with a teleconverter on, you're losing a lot more, and the CA and the barrel distortion is quite bad. And we'll go on to about teleconverters with this shortly. So I said handheld, guys, with 4 stops of image stabilization, that can be pretty good for me. But this lens really will be used being supported by either a tripod, being supported by a beanbag on a car, on a rock, next to a tree, some way of giving me support for long periods of time holding this lens. Yes, it's going to take its toll on me, but to be honest, the lens itself, when you're carrying it around, it does feel a lot lighter, and it's quite deceiving, really, especially with its old design. This was redesigned, the EF 800 over the 600. There was lots of weight-saving methods put into this lens to make it that much lighter, considering it's that much bigger and significantly longer as well. So guys, it goes without saying, for an L lens, the big whites, they are extremely well weatherproofed, and this is the same. The weather seal around there is absolutely intact. It's hardly got any wear on the contacts. It's hardly been used. I think it's been used a couple of times, put in the box. And it is a niche lens, guys. It really is. It's not a lens that you're going to take out every day. So I've got a slight shortfall in my photography with my lenses now. I have got quite a lot, but my largest prime at the moment, well, largest prime, I've got an RF 800 f11, but that's not really going to fit the bill for low light, where this will, and the images through this as an 800 opposed to the RF 800 will be a hell of a lot better. But it's good to have the RF 800 for video if I'm running 2 cameras as well, nest photography, etc. And that's another good reason for having this lens. I do a lot of survey work, and if I'm looking on birds' nests, I'm out on the cliffs doing some bird photography with falcons, I could do nest photography in my woodland at home in the UK. Lots of subjects at distance. You know, this would come into play. And moving on to that with the teleconverters, you can use a 1.4 and a 2 times teleconverter on this, which would obviously increase the focal length dramatically on this. You know, you put a 2 times on there, you're at 1600, and if you put a crop sensor on, you're even more. But I wouldn't like to use a crop sensor on a prime like this. I don't think the R7, I think straight R7 on here probably be all right. But if you start putting teleconverters on there, I think it's just going to be awful. But we will look into that when I use it in the field. But I just really want to talk to you why I bought it. As I said, there's hardly any reviews online, especially on YouTube. And if they are online, they're very, very old. It's a bit of a niche lens. A good friend of mine I spoke to about this lens, and I said, what do you think of it? And he said, it's bloody awful. I had 2 of them, and he didn't get on with it at all. So I had a chat with him about that, spoke to a lot of other people, and they absolutely love it. Now, I don't know whether there was an issue with his lenses, or it's the fact that he was using old 1D bodies, and that could be the reason. You know, this is a state-of-the-art, last ever DSLR, the 1DX Mark III, and I've tried this only so far with the R3, and it's absolutely sharp as you like. I shot it at f5.6, 6.3, 7.1, f8, and it was absolutely awesome. From corner to corner, it was sharp, really, really good. So there could be a difference there with using more up-to-date bodies. Bearing in mind, he did own 2 of these many, many years ago, and I'm not sure what body he was using, but it'd probably be using something like a 1D2, 1D2N, 1D3, 4, who knows, and that would have been slightly different, possibly with a lens like this, but certainly with the R3, it's been absolutely fantastic. There's not really much more to say, guys, really. I just really wanted to talk to you and put this out there of why I bought it. So we've gone through the reasons, the price, filling that niche gap there in my photography. Yes, I could have limped on, if you like, with what I got, and my fieldcraft would come into play and I'd get closer to the subject, and I would have still got probably the same shots, but this allows me to sit back at comfort and watch the subject behaving naturally without them knowing that I'm there. Whereas when you're stalking animals, they will give you that circle of fear where you can get within a certain distance of them and then they'll move on. For birds of prey, for instance, buzzards at home, they'll always keep a certain distance from you. You move forward, they move off. You move forward, they move off. You get closer, they move off. That's what they do. They keep that subject separation from you at all times. With this lens, I hope to think that I'll be able to get closer to subjects and observe their natural behavior without affecting that. And me as a photographer, as an ethical wildlife photographer, what I want to do is go in, study the subject, take some great images, move away, look back, and that subject is still doing what it was doing when I first arrived, naturally. And that's the big thing for me. I'm very lucky to be able to get this lens, but for the price point, I just couldn't say no to it, really. I really couldn't. So guys, I've also bought a lens cover for it as well. And I bought these from Outdoor Photography Gear, back in the UK. Now, I got one fitted to my 200-400 1.4 telly, and I love the quality of it. And this price is such a good price. I think this was like 40 quid. Now, the lens coat version would be about 140 quid. And to be honest, these are so much better. I like the colour. So I've got the full-on lens cover for it, so I can keep it from top to bottom, keep it well protected. Haven't put it on yet because I wanted to show you the lens, take a few images of it as it is, and also bought a lens cap at the end for it, so it saves me using this, because when you're out in the field and you're using this and you go Velcro, subjects look up and off they go. So I kind of have bought one of these, all neoprene, and that will be fitted to it instead. And as I said, I've got the cover there to put on after I finished this review. So guys, that concludes the look at the EF 800 f5.6 LIS from Canon. It was just literally to show you guys why I purchased this lens with a few reasons for it. I'm really hoping it's going to fill that void in my photography and allow me to get nice and close and capture those subjects acting naturally without that disturbance piece as well. But if you've got any questions, please leave them in the vlog description below. If you've owned this lens, if you liked it, if you disliked it, if you've got the RF800, etc., if you're that lucky to own one of those beasts, please let us know how you get on. I'd be really, really interested to know. But for me, I'm well happy. I'm looking forward to using it in the field very soon and hoping. And if you think you'd like to see a actual in the field review on the EF 800 f5.6, please let us know in the vlog description. Be much appreciated. I think I will do one because I think there's a lack of it out there. These lenses, as I say, are niche lenses and they do pop up from time to time. They didn't make loads of them, so they do pop up, but as I said, they are a niche lens, a lens that you're not going to take out every day. But I think it's worth looking at doing a review on this lens, but please let me know in the vlog description below. But as always, guys, thanks very much indeed for following along today. If you need to catch up on any of my other videos, I hope you really enjoyed my Algonquin series with the black bears and moose, etc. Thoroughly enjoyed doing it. I wish I had the 800 with me at the time, but sadly it didn't quite arrive. But from me, guys, thanks very much indeed for watching, and I'll see you all next time.